We consistently get 10 to 13 times return on our ad spend with Google Ads, while the industry standard is only 3 to 5 times returns. So today, I'm gonna show you exactly how we set up our campaigns to generate motivated seller leads. This is the exact process we've used to help us scale to $200,000 profit months in our wholesaling business. So the first thing is figuring out where we're gonna have our website. One of the sites that we like to use is from investorlift.com. It's one of the fastest sites that we've been able to utilize and has worked for us consistently over the years to never have any downtime. Another alternative you can use is carrot.com. They make it incredibly simple to set up a seller website for people to go on, type in information about their property that are looking to sell. When you're setting up a seller site, it's imperative to make sure that the name of your company is present, but really the things that are important to people are present as well, which is fast closings, paying all closing costs as is, and allowing them to choose the closing timeline. So right here is what our landing page looks like from InvestorLift. It is very simple, it is very easy, to the point, and does not get distracted by any fluff that you see on a lot of modern websites, which we find the simplicity actually makes it incredibly more convertible than a website that is filled with reviews and all these other pages that people can click on and they get distracted. Keeping it streamlined is a very efficient way to get people's information. So if they scroll down, you can see there are a couple key things here, which is, step 1, request your offer online, no prep works are showing. Step 2, get a competitive cash offer within a few minutes. And step 3 is schedule your hassle-free quick closing, get paid in as little as 7 days. So it's just giving them a very, very basic overview of what the process may look like. Another thing you'll notice is it's actually going to give a pros and con list selling to you and your company versus a traditional home sale and the difference between the two of them. Now, at the bottom of the page, you'll see again, some reasons why someone might be looking to sell that can resonate with people who are actively looking up how to sell my property on Google. 1, wanting to sell fast, of course. 2, avoiding costly repairs. 3, they might have inherited the property, they don't know what to do with it. And 4, they might be facing foreclosure and they would like to avoid that by selling the property. Just a couple of the most common we hear, we put on the website just to build rapport with people before we actually speak with them on the phone. All right, so let's walk through what the process looks like for a seller when they're actually using these websites to be able to enter their information. So they're gonna go ahead and enter their home, which is, let's say, 123 Main Street. They're gonna put their information in, they'll go ahead and verify that that's correct, and then they will go ahead and enter their information. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit get my offer. Awesome. So the next thing that's gonna be prompted is to fill out some basic information about the property. So let's say it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, built in 1990, and it's 1,200 square feet. We'll hit continue. What countertops do you have in your kitchen? Let's say we've got Formica countertops. What type of appliances do you have in your kitchen? We'll say all black. What is the overall condition of your kitchen? Let's say it needs work. What is the overall condition of your bathrooms? It needs work. So as you can see, what it's doing is it's asking us qualifying questions without even needing to speak to us on the phone yet. We're getting already information on the condition of the home before we even have our team reach out to them to make the process not only easier for the seller, but also easier for our team. We'll ask about condition of the yard. We'll ask about the condition of the home exterior. Then what it's gonna do is it's also gonna ask you what your top priority is when selling the home. Now, it's gonna give you a couple examples of selling for a specific date, getting cash quickly for the house, selling without the hassle of listings or showings, or getting the highest price regardless of time and effort, or avoiding foreclosure. This is a great thing to have on your website just to get a quick look into what the motivation is and to why they are looking to sell. Time frame to sell, we can put ASAP. Again, another great motivation qualifying question. It's gonna then ask what they're looking to sell the property for. So let's go ahead and put $150,000. This is gonna be where they're also able to tell us any additional information about the property that they may feel is required or good for us to know. Oftentimes they leave this blank, but sometimes we get some great information from it, so we always keep it around. Lastly, it's gonna ask if they have any photos. It's not very common that they add photos. However, if they do, it makes your job a lot easier. Great, and that's it. Now they've filled out the form, it's gone to our acquisition team, they're already on the phone dialing to call the seller, and that is exactly how you want your seller site to look. All right, so we're inside our Google Ads account with one of 56 different campaigns that we have set up, and I'm just gonna show you the performance of this one campaign for the last 12 months. So this campaign itself is a search word campaign, meaning when somebody goes online and types in "sell my house fast" on Google, we are showing up on their computers as the buyers that are willing to purchase their properties. So a couple key metrics to look at here. For starters, this one campaign, we've spent $18,054.22 on for the entire year of January 2024. Now, a lot of people will look at that number and think it's very high. However, for every single campaign we're running, if we're hitting 10 to 13 times return, it's a very, very strong number. You wanna have them as high as possible, right? So we've shown this ad 128,000 times last year. Over 2,000 people have clicked on the ad. Over 30% of the people that clicked on the ad ended up entering their information. And we've gotten an average cost per lead of $26.53, which is incredibly lower than the industry average right now that's hovering about $60 to $75 for nationwide leads. So here are the general settings that we keep on all of our campaigns. So the conversion goal is always our account default, which we have set to submitting a lead form on the website. Our main goal anytime we show our ad to somebody is to have that individual put their information in our website to become a lead in our follow-up system. Our customer acquisition, we have set to bidding equal for new and existing customers. Marketing objective, we always have it set to lead. For Google search networks, we have that turned off, as we found it spends a lot of money, and in this particular industry does not usually warrant good leads. Next, what you're gonna see is the location settings, where we have a list of the 15 different states and cities that we're targeting, as well as an exclusion list of 34 specific states and cities that we don't want traffic coming from because it's going to increase the cost of our ads as well as bring down the conversion rate. Next, we've got budget. Typically, when you start a campaign or you're running multiple single campaigns like we do in our business, we typically are anywhere from $50 to $75 per day because our average cost at $26 is about 1 to 3 leads per campaign. The next setting that we typically go over is bidding. Now, a lot of people like to set target cost per action, and for certain scenarios that might make sense. However, the way that we run our advertising, we always think that utilizing Google's AI and their algorithm to decide when to bid for new customers and how much to bid always gives us the most optimal results through all of our testing. And lastly, for automatically created assets, we turn that off. We don't want Google serving anyone anything that we have not approved or created internally with our team. Now, a little trick when you're running high traffic ad campaigns is utilizing Google's system of maximize conversions. A lot of people like to maximize for clicks or traffics, but we like to target people specifically that Google's algorithm detects is more likely to fill out the lead and become an actual lead in our system than not. Another thing that I'd like to point out by these ads is it's going to be your ad copy. Now, having strong and targeted ad copy can definitely be the difference between a campaign working tremendously and having an incredibly high conversion rate versus completely flopping and wasting a lot of money. So when you are creating these campaigns, make sure that you are speaking to the audience in which you're trying to reach, which in this case is individuals looking to sell their properties. Once a lead has filled out the information on our website, it gets put into our customer relationship management or CRM system. Essentially, this is where all of our leads live and all of our automated follow-up processes start to work immediately, making sure these people get contacted right away. Within the first few minutes of being in the system, they'll automatically get a text message thanking them for putting their information into our website, letting them know that a home buying specialist will be reaching out to them very soon. Once our acquisition agents have gone through the entire script and they've gathered all of the property information on the condition, what we like to do is we like to say, thank you, Mr. Seller, for all that information. Given the condition the property's in, based off the information you've told us, what do you feel is a fair price for that property? This oftentimes puts them in a situation where they've already told us the condition of the home and places them in a situation to have to give us a more realistic expectation rather than a fantasy number. Lastly, once we've come to an agreement with the seller on the terms and the pricing for the property, we like to send our contracts via DocuSign while our agents are still on the phone with the sellers. Once the seller acknowledges that they receive the DocuSign, our acquisition team, utilizing our contract walkthrough scripts, go through the entire contract process with them to ensure everybody is in agreement with all of the stipulations in the contract. The only thing left to do at that point is to sign on the dotted line and get their property sold. Now, because we utilize the MLS to sell all of our deals, one of the main things is having the attorney in fact signed with the purchase agreement. That's the piece of paper that allows us to actually place the property on the market to sell to an end buyer. One thing we learned while selling real estate in Beverly Hills is that you can always get a premium for your property when placing it on the market. That is why, regardless of the property's condition, price, or location, we always list these properties on the MLS to ensure that the property is getting maximum exposure to bring the price to the highest possible level. Not only increasing our fee, but also increasing the amount that we're allowed to offer sellers to beat out other offers. The main strategy we utilize for leads is Google Ads. We've been doing this for a couple years now, and it's the thing that we have found the most success with. We get the highest amount of ROI. We're able to control the narrative as well as what we are saying to these people when they look us up. Over the years, through refining our Google campaigns as well as our sales techniques, we've been able to consistently hit 10 to 13 times return on our ad spend. This is well above the 3 to 5x return that's industry standard. So with the average cost per lead floating between $26 to $30 throughout our campaigns, it costs us roughly about $400 per contract that we lock up with the sellers. Each one of these contracts that we lock up with the sellers has a projected fee of $25,000 to $35,000 profit. Utilizing low-cost lead gen strategies with high profiting exit strategies is one of the #1 reasons we are so incredibly profitable in our business, while other wholesale methods and strategies struggle to get by. If you want to learn more about the strategies that we're using to grow our wholesale business, you can click on the link in the description below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.